right, sorry about that. I just wanted to, let me just move my camera around here. There we go. All right, that's a bit better. Okay, let's share screen. Good morning, Paul. Let's share my screen. There we go. Right, so what we want to do is have a look at the pound. And got you, Angel, no problem. Let's see if we can set up the breakout trade to see what it was. It was a great trade yesterday, really good on the pound. So let's have a look what we've got today and see whether we've got the parameters that would suggest that we should be looking at breakout. So there's the weekly. Now this is not going to be a breakout trade. So what we are looking for, these are the kind of the new parameters that that Jeff and I have been talking about. Let's bring up the pivots here. There we go. Right, now, the difference with today over yesterday, just so everybody understands, is yesterday we were looking at a range, and this was the high, and that was the low. Now, what I didn't consider yesterday was the downside as it goes, but it looked so strong for a push to the upside that the downside, I don't think, needed consideration. So we should have put it in, but actually it wasn't really a problem. And that was the target there, but the pound went a whole lot further. But that in itself would be a different strategy. So we're really just aiming for the first point of call. Now, Jeff probably would have made more money out of this. I think Jeff's idea would be to trail, and it would probably be under the behind the 30 minutes. I'm not exactly sure what his parameters were, but it looks like it's pretty good to me. I don't think he would have got taken out until maybe around here. So it would have been a fantastic trade for Jeff yesterday, 38. It could have been a 2-to-1 yesterday, but you guys probably know a little bit more about Jeff's parameters of the breakout trade than I do. You may well have made more money on that. I did come out the daily pivot instead. Now the pound itself. So now the issue with this one, you can see that there is a breakout level here. There's that the start of the range, and when it pops down here and touches that area again, then we get confirmation that there is a range at that particular point, because there's 2 touches down here, 2 touches up top. So that would mean that we are free to trade the breakout. Now, with this one, we don't really have that. What we've got is a trending market. You know, this is actually trending to the downside. So no good. And also with the pound, I think, you know, if we were looking at this as a trading opportunity, we'd probably be looking for shorting it. We've got this is the weekly chart here. We've got some weekly indications that this is weakening up here. And we have got daily indications that this is weakening up here. This is a tricky one to call a downtrend, but it does look like it's there. Now, there's a few things with this particular level which suggest that we are in a downtrend. Now, the first thing, obviously, is this bar here. Now, this is almost like an evening star, but it takes out the fact that it takes out 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of price action to the upside is very, very positive for some downside. And this is the other thing, is this trend line along here. Now, we're also under that level. Now, if we put in the pattern here, what do we have? What we have is this rising wedge. Now, the rising wedge is negative, and that would suggest that the pound has got, I'll grab that level again, there we go. That would suggest, there's our breakout point there. So that would suggest the pound would come down to at least this lower band here, which means that you've probably got at least a 2-to-1 on the dailies there. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? When we kind of check this out. Good afternoon, Scalper Joe. How you doing, buddy? Now, you are welcome, as I said yesterday, or sorry, previously, you're welcome in the show, mate, at any time to come in Zoom. If you want to share any ideas, then you're more than welcome to do that. It'd be fascinating to hear what you're doing. Now the market has opened up, but this looks like a potential pound short to me. So let's see if there is a pound short on the level, on the line here, and see whether it is tradable. Now, what I quite like is this trend line here. At this stage, that's the best grab there. Now, let's just quickly put a fib on this little level here and see what this is suggesting. So this is suggesting that there's a possibility that the 38.2% retracement, and you could get into this with the stops at the highs, and there's also a possibility at this 50% line here. Now let's bring this in with fibs, with pivots as well, and see what they are suggesting. I don't want that. That's what I want. Now it's above the pivot, and it's above the weekly pivot as well. Now, because it's above but all the pivots here, that is maybe saying that this could be a shade early for a trade. Now, we will have a look at the possible movers for this. Good morning, Paresh. We'll have a look at the possible movers for this particular market, but I think a pound short is potentially on here. Let's have a look at it against the yen as well, and see what it's suggesting against the yen. Now, you don't see it on the weekly, but we're definitely seeing this head and shoulders pattern forming on the on the 4 hourly, on the dailies here. We got there's the left shoulder there, there's the head, and there's the right shoulder, and we're at my favored point up here on that right shoulder. What I'd want to see here is a break of a trend line, which we might have. So let's see if we do have that on the 4 hour. Let's get rid of those levels. Well, we do, but it's not very clean, is it? It's not hugging a trend line, so I don't love that. And this would probably be above the pivots as well. Yeah, this is above the pivots as well. This would probably be better under this point here. Now, one of the reasons I wouldn't mind going after the pound is that we have some weak background information. Let me just bring up the COT data. We did look at this yesterday, but this might just corroborate a little further what I'm thinking. So let me just sign into this, and I'll show you the weekly. Sorry, I'll show you the seasonal pattern with the pound, and I will show you the COT data, because it's the pound, the Kiwi, and the Aussie which are suggesting the weakest possible information, the weakest possible moves. So that's what I want to quickly look at. Okay. Right, then this is the COT data for the pound. Obviously, picking the right currency pair would be the right would be the trick. Now, I do like the Swissy, but look here. Now you can just see here, very simply, without even looking at the chart, the index on a 3-year period is down at 1%. So that's very, very bearish. Anything below 20% is bearish. Index over a 1.5-year period is also very bearish, and the index over the 6-month period is very bearish. So that's telling us that the commercials are more concerned about downside with the pound than they are upside. So they are hedging out their risk to the downside. Now, what we're looking at here in the commercials is a level between the buying and the selling. And look at that pop up with the selling just there over the last few weeks. Now that has been growing. So when we look at this since the end of the turn of the year, really, we've started to see the positions just growing with the pound to the downside. It's pushing down and down and down, and we're seeing the commercial longs just subside here. So it looks pretty good on the commercials. Now let's look at the seasonal pattern. Now the seasonal pattern is also down in May. This is May here. The seasonal suggests that this is down in May, right the way through to June, really, possibly right the way through to July, actually. We do see a little tip up around about the middle of June, but ultimately the bigger picture here is that we tend to fall right the way through to July. Now, the pandemic is making things a little bit trickier. However, now let's just quickly compare this to the dollar index. Now we see with the dollar index, these numbers are a lot healthier: 65% on the 3-year, 56% on the year and a half, and 16% over 6 months. So that's getting a little bit low in the shorter term. But over a 3-year period, what we're checking out here is, let's just make this into a 3-year period here. This is our 3-year period here. In actual fact, let's just make it like that instead. It's a little bit flat, and probably this is quite notable. The buyers aren't really coming in, so they're not hedging against downside. The sellers have subsided a little bit, so it doesn't really suggest strong price action for the dollar, which makes things a little bit tricky. Now, fundamentally, I quite like the Swissy. Now look at the difference here on the 6-month, 93%. That's pretty huge. So fundamentally, I quite like the Swissy. So let's just and we can look at why later on. But you can see with the Swissy, different picture with the pound. Actually, the opposite, where the buying has really started to pick up and the selling has dropped off. Now, what does the seasonal pattern suggest with the Swissy? Well, in May, it does dip a little bit, and then we start to move to the upside, potentially around about the middle of May. So it could be a shade early, but let's see what the chart patterns is suggesting it with a pound Swiss. And what have we got here? Let's start with a clean chart here. Okay, pound Swiss. So we'll start out on the monthlies. Now, this is this would be problematic for downside pound Swiss. This bar is quite interesting. So there is a little bit of weakness here when we look at this this engulfing bar. In fact, quite a lot of weakness when we look at that engulfing bar. But what's the trend saying? Well, that's pretty good actually, isn't it? But the trend would suggest that we could push up into this area first. So we popped through the trend line. Now we've gone through it to the downside, and that would suggest popping up and testing this area here at 128.30, 1.2830. Let's see what that looks like on the weeklies. Now we might be able to tuck down a little. This bar here on the weeklies is interesting because this looks like this has tested that that breakthrough level on a shorter term time frame. Just about, you know, we got this this area here, we got that on the weekly. Then we go to the dailies, and what do we have now? Do we have a test on the fibs? Let's check them out. Maybe not quite enough, but we can definitely see a little pattern in here. So when we go down to the 4-hourly, and then I'll bring in the pivots. When we look at the 4-hourly, what we have is this. And that area is right, that the price action is right on top of that. So it doesn't look like a bad area to try and take a short on the pound Swiss. The big question would be the time frame. You know, what time frame are we comfortable trading this off of? And do we want to use the a stop in these areas or here, or do we want to just take down the leverage and trade it on a slightly different approach with a slightly different approach? Now we'll bring in the pivots here. I'd like this monthly tested. I'd like to see that monthly tested. Now, if I bring in, I'm just going to bring in that that level one more time here. And see where that brings us out. Yeah, that's quite high, isn't it? That to me looks like the area where the risk is at its greatest. 1.2917. So that could be quite a wide stop, which wouldn't be problematic if we get a decent move. Okay, well, I like the pound for downside. I'm not sure whether we've got a case just yet to say that we are going lower. Now, overnight, we have had a statement from the RBA, and they have really reiterated their bond purchasing program and suggested that that the jobs data possibly isn't quite strong enough just yet, and there's little inflation, which really isn't too bullish for the Australian dollar. Now, what else do we have? This will be quite interesting from New Zealand, the employment change. Anything which suggests weak employment in any of the nations right now is going to be bearish, I would have thought. So the unemployment rate from New Zealand has, as you can see, been rising over the last couple of months, but it did fall down a little bit in February, but sorry, in the last few quarters. So we want to see that continue into the downside to support the Kiwi. But really, if we I'm quite keen on a short with a Kiwi. If this starts to pop higher, that could make a pretty good case for some downside for the Kiwi. Now, what we've got from Switzerland, which might mean that we are on our hands somewhat, is we have an unemployment rate on Friday. Now, I'm sure there was more. Oh, here we go. CPI month on month should have been reported. Let me just check this. Oh no, sorry, that's tomorrow, isn't it? CPI month on month tomorrow might be a bit of a driver, so we should look into that if we're going to make a case for for Switzerland. And now I can tell you that really what we've seen from Switzerland, generally speaking, has been pretty good. Oh, fantastic, scalper! That's brilliant. Okay, now where is Shukri in the room? Let me just double check. Shukri's not here yet. So did you want to come on mic, Scalper, and talk us through what you're doing? Oh, you're there. Fantastic. Yeah, do you want to come on mic, mate? I won't unmute you until you give me the go ahead to say that you're up for getting on mic. Good morning, John. Yesterday's pound trade was great, mate. Yes, well done. Well done for that. Did you trade it Jeff's way and trail, or did you just come out of the daily pivot? Fantastic. All right, let's unmute you then. There you go. How you doing, mate?
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you great.
Hey, how you going, Ash? Thanks for having me on. How's things?
Oh, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. I'm interested.
Else?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're a scalper. You trade on 2-minute charts, right?
Yeah, look, it's not entirely true. Like, obviously, we're going to cross-reference with the higher time frames to see some confluences and whatever else. But for my trading style, my personality, I find that I'm much more effective, as odd as it might sound, keeping my positions really short in time and just being in and out with quick plays, basically. I've tried a bit of everything. I've been trading for a few years now. You go through the peaks and troughs until, again, you learn to lose well and minimize those losses, especially if you're scalping on the lower time frames. You can undo a lot of good work very quickly if you hold your positions. And so it's for me, it's a bit of sport as well as a way to make some coin. And I enjoy it a lot. So I'm happy to walk you through the kind of setups that I guess are my bread and butter type setups, particularly over the last few days as the market's moving with some fluidity, I guess. And we can chat. No problems. Thanks for having me on. It's really good to see people narrate in such a presentable fashion what they're doing and getting everyone in to learn and exchange ideas. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Oh, mate, that's brilliant. That's really cool. Yeah, that'd be really good. I mean, we've got today is crypto day, so I'm just mindful that I'm going to give Shukri enough time to talk, but he's not in the room just yet. But so let me just ask you a few questions first, and then maybe we'll get on to kind of at some point. It'd be great to get you to share screen and show us what you're doing.
Sure.
But yeah, so let me ask you a few questions. So if you're trading on shorter term time frame, so really you must either have a very good mental aptitude, or you must have tested your strategy fully enough to know that you are onto a good enough thing to be able to cut those positions. Because as you say, a couple of bad trades with a scalping approach can make a huge difference and a huge dent in your P&L at the end of the year, never mind at the end of the month. So the first thing I was going to ask is, what markets do you focus on for this particular strategy?
Well, so anything with high volume, right? So the majors predominantly, Forex particularly. I don't play with crypto all that much, but yeah, it's Forex majors. I have about 10 different charts in front of me, and I guess to describe the style, and I can show you if you'd like whenever you're ready. Yeah. I'm just I'm a big believer that the trader's personality is important, and for me, yeah, exactly right. For me, it's much easier to be a contrarian to the market and look for points of minor reversals and fade the trend and look for key points of resistance or support, and just looking to get a bounce back to a key period, the 20-period moving average. To do that, I look at some distribution or accumulation patterns, in a Wyckofian type sense. And then look to enter my positions where there's an imbalance around order flows and order blocks, and that.
Okay. So you're using order flow, are you?
Yeah. Well, I'll try my best to. Let's just say that. But yeah, exactly right. So just trying to identify and preferably on a higher time frame what the bias is. I'll note out the zones of interest on a higher time frame. Drill into the lower end charts to look for my my entry positions. And hope that I get it right. And again, look, I don't try and hold the trade for too long, unless of course it's confirmed on the higher term basis, and then I'll leave a trailer in there to just keep me in the trade. But depending on the size of my positions and whatever else.
I really like that, mate. And I think it's interesting that you bring up order flow, because it was going to be one of my points. Is that I think most successful scalpers that I know, or whether you want to be kind of like thought of as a scalper or a short-term trader, but most short-term traders that I know are either using order flow, or they are using level 2. So the ones that I know that trade stocks, they're using level 2 data, which is basically the same thing. The question is of the quality of the order flow feed that you have. Now, are you getting that off something like IG, or have you paid for a size subscription with somebody to get that order flow?
No, I just off the charts, and I use the either a buy candle and then taken out immediately by a sell candle at key points to give me that that kind of institutional funded candle that I'll look to use as my guiding point. Look for a break of structure. So it's purely on the candles, purely price action and chart reading. And if something's broken previous structure, then I know that's a fairly reliable order block. If there's a little inefficiency shortly after, so let's say we've got a bullish outbreak from a sell candle, you've got a bullish engulfing that takes off, break some previous market structure. Well, we know that's going to be a reliable point, particularly for a very short-term bounce from that position, tapping into that liquidity and getting a push up again.
So I presume volume must play a big part in the way that you're approaching the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's key times, a couple of hours a day, basically, to chip away at this. Otherwise,
but would you want to see that candle with a spike in volume if you saw it kind of going and taking out a structure? Would you want to see that with a spike in volume as well, or is that not important to you?
Yeah, no, the volume is definitely important. So especially from its instigation point, you want to see that it's been met with volume. You want to see that as it comes back into there, that the volume's not too strong as well. On the short-term charts as well, I like to watch how the story unfolds. So it's very hard to read the candles accurately, of course, but I think you've got to look at the character of how the candles form. Like you noted before, when you looked at how quickly one candle eliminated the 4 previous candles, that's telling the story right there. And so I watch how the candles unfold over time. If it gets down to the position or to a position in a parabolic manner, well, it has to be respected. And and if something's gliding gently back down, well, it's probably a good opportunity to look for an entry off of that point. So I just try to read the play, try and get a feel for the rhythm of the market, and again, keep to my strict stop loss area. It's not a hard stop because you get whipped out often enough, but you have to draw a definite line in the sand, no doubt.
I'm a big advocate for that, mate. I don't really like hard stops, and that's not to kind of suggest to people that they shouldn't use a stop loss, but I completely agree with you that the problem with the hard stop is the whipsawing price action that can happen. And I think when you get experienced and you put a soft level in the sand, and just to kind of just to illustrate this on this chart here, if there was a level where we said, like, now here I don't want to see the market going above that. And now if I'm entering somewhere within the low of the candle and there's my stop loss, and let's say I'm aiming for a 1-to-1, if the market comes up and touches that area, it doesn't mean that we want to get out, particularly because we've got a level really across here. But what it would mean is that if it closes above here, then we're starting to look at the price action and say, and actually it's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes I'll look at something and I'll say, okay, it's closed above, but I don't see that close on much momentum or liquidity. And if there's a lack of momentum and liquidity of that close above, then I might just hang on for a little while and see whether there's some follow through off the back of that. And I really like that approach, because I'm with you. I think that the charts tell you, generally speaking, what you need to know. And if it gets a close above your level, you've either picked the wrong level in the right direction, or you've picked the exact level that you should come out at, and you have to make a judgment call maybe later on. So I'm really big on soft stops, but with that you've got to be in front of your charts for that, haven't you? You can't just kind of like do it and walk away, because you could.
Oh no. Yeah. So if I'm trading, I'm looking at the charts the whole time. I won't be looking at my phone or anything like that. I'm not that daring. But I use like a 2 candle stop, right? So here's where my stop might be. If it goes beyond that stop, I let that candle close. It can do some damage in the meantime, but I've factored that into my maximum risk per trade. If it closes out in a negative position to what I wanted, and the next one breaches that high, I'm done. Right? That's where I'll call it a loss and move on.
That's really good, mate. I really like that. I think it sounds to me like you've got a systematic approach. Now, I won't we won't talk about profits, because it's really misleading. But do you find by the end of each month that you are percent positive, or percent flat, or percent negative?
No, I'm fairly positive at the moment, Ash. Again, refining. It depends if I'm disciplined, like all of us, right? So there's a couple of strategies. If I rely on them, then they're fairly reliable. And again, it's just about the discipline to incorporate your trading plan. Not put on too much risk, more so than you're comfortable with, especially if this thing's going to whip around on you. Because the emotions are everything. So it's a fairly reliable system. But again, providing that I'm entering, the entries and exits are everything. You hold on for a bit too long, and the market's going to go against you. So it's about controlling the greed and the risk aspect as well.
That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. Okay, well, do you know what? I don't see Shukri in the room. Maybe he is. Let me just double check. Sure. It looks like it's me. It looks like it's Angel. I can see. Shukri's not here, Angel. Is that right? And unless he's due in 5 minutes, maybe he's due in at past, is he? Not here yet. Okay. Does he come in at past? Is that just my imagination that I'm giving him more time, or is he usually here by now? Have you heard Shukri, Joe? He's normally here by now, John. Is that, or is it half past? If it's half past, okay, cool. All right. We'll give him until then. So if you're up for it, then, mate, why don't we schedule a time to kind of maybe go through something specific? You can maybe take us through a trade that you've done and just walk us through how you'd approach it. But should we say next Monday? Is that good for you?
Yeah, look, I'll do my very best. Now, this isn't my full-time gig, unfortunately, although I'd love it to be. So it really depends on my day unfolding. So I'm from Australia. This is the tail end of our work day. And so most often I'm going to be here. Okay. But yeah, whack me in and I'll send you a small note if I can't commit to it.
No problem. Yeah, we can always put it off till another time. That's if you're happy to do it, mate. And I don't want to put you under any pressure.
Absolutely. There's a really good example of what I would be interested in. If you want to get your chart up instead on the US JPY, US dollar yen.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got 4 minutes actually. Are you able to share screen?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you give me those permissions, I'll see how.
Can we do that, Angel? Could we give give Joe permission to share screen? That'd be fantastic to have a look at walk us through a little trade. You can share screen now. Brilliant.
All right. So bear with me. Let me just get organized here.
This is great.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's mate, I loved. I picked up the trading bug a few years ago, and it's with me. So any chance to just have a yarn about it all, learn something new, exchange some ideas, I'm down for.
It's really good, mate, and that's really why Jeff and I set up the show this particular way, because it is really just about exchanging ideas and just helping each other out, in the market. It's more of a forum, I suppose, than anything else.
Absolutely. So if I share, so when I hit the share screen button, it's saying this will stop others.
No problem.
So I hit yes. All right, there we go.
That'll stop me sharing mine.
All right. So do you see a yellow
yes
chart? All right. This is my chart as we speak. So we're on the 2 minute. So let's just note here. This is kind of where the order broke down before. All right. So we've had this. It's a breakdown position, not quite as a stricter an entry as I'd want, but see this massive inefficiency that we have in the market here in terms of the selling pressure. So this is what I would mark as a point of interest. And I would suspect that the market's coming up here to fill in this void, tap into this area of breakdown there, and I would start entering my short, probably in this zone. And I would start layering in as it approaches with my stop probably just above this zone in here, but subject to, Ash, how it approaches. So if I get a pullback back to the 20, so let me just walk you through the setup here. Got the 200. US dollar yen, exactly.
Yep.
So I've got the 200 period moving average, 20 period. They're both simple moving averages, and I look for a parabolic shift away from the 20, with some dual levels of space between the 200 and the 20, and then the 20 and price. I want price to get to an even spacing with the 200 of the 2020 to price, and I want that to happen in a sudden upthrust. So the fact that this is pulling back before we got into that point of interest, which is here, I don't like too much. I would have loved to have seen that accelerate into the area, run out of steam into that kind of point of interest here, and then I'd start shorting it as price tends to get back to that railroad track of the 20 period moving average. It's still not over. We could still watch it, but I can show you what I did here. So I've marked out. I've put on my tracks here. And I'm a fan of measured moves as well, Ash. So if we look at the peak of price to there, and then the next kind of run up, it's about, we can kind of rely on that move there as a guide of how far away price is getting before the retraction. So as price accelerates away, what time frame was I on prior? I think it might have been the 15. Yeah, into that breakdown area, into this block, it's come up. And I started shorting just as it got above there. It might have been the 30. Let me have a look. Yeah, just into this zone in here was my point of interest. And entered off that wick on the shorter time frame. Came into the zone of, so this was the trade one for a bear 180. Entered, got out, same again. I left a little runner in there, stopped me out. Saw the bear 180, entered again, coming close into the 20 zone again. Just quick scalps with some heavier positions than what traders would do if they're holding for a long end trade. Getting the move back into the 20 zone, noting this wick, noting this up bar here, and pulled out. I saw a breakdown after with momentum, scalped that there. This would have been another really good example of distribution occurring.
Yep.
An order block in here, price coming up into that order block. So this is happening while we're chatting. This would have been a point of interest in here for me, as price tucked up, retested, and broke down to test this low. So, that's a kind of just an example of what I'm looking for, using these moving averages as my areas of key support and resistance, looking for price to pull away in higher time frames, points of interest as well, using kind of these zones here, these blocks here to guide me, seeing what happens on the short-term time frame, and giving it a crack, Ash.
So you don't use pivots?
So buying off the pivot points?
Well, are you aware of where they are? I mean, I know you don't. It doesn't look like you interact with them as a buy and sell area, but do you not use them as reference, as potential support and resistance?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, I do. So let's take where can I take it from? Let's take, for instance, this push up coming back in. This would have been a point of interest for me to buy from, based on this order flow here, pushing up, breaking prior structure, especially with the equals here. Breaking prior structure, closing out again, coming back in. A little bit of an inefficiency here that the market's obviously filled, tested this bottom. I would buy from here to get a quick scalp, and I use kind of Fibonacci retracements just from a visual, because I don't have time to whack on the fibs and test. If I'm scalping with some heavy positions, I'll go for a third of the way up, around that 25 to 30% mark, depending again on how it's forming, or hold to the 50% retracement. Yeah.
Okay, so we are using levels as well. This is really good, mate. I like the distribution between the 20 and price that you were talking about, the equation with that.
Yeah, sure.
Now, is this something that you've developed, or is this something that somebody taught you? Is this a specific strategy that somebody taught you, or is this something that you've developed over time?
Look, it starts with, probably like everyone, looking at various YouTube kind of clips and whatever else to gauge your interest. You pick up bits and pieces as you go. A couple of courses in the early days, and then really just kind of picking what I found works for me, particularly. And I found that I'm a much better shorter than I am a buyer in the market.
Interesting.
I've got much more trust in a position if it's going against the trend on a short, trying to catch out those buyers in a trap. So I really look for new highs that are broken, points of liquidity and equal highs. Something along this kind of line here. I really like to see where there's an up thrust, a new high, but suddenly there's a takeout with the sellers, and so all these buyers are getting trapped, forcing the sell positions and causing that fear to cascade down. So, as where did this get up to in the end? So it's a bit early for me, but it's depending on the time frame. If I went up to the 5, we might find that was a fair a point of interest here. So see how this block's suddenly larger because we're on a better time frame, right? So we've gone up, seen this institutional buy to sell candle. I would have noted that there. I probably would have started layering in as it approached there, and as this inefficiency, let me just zoom a bit, as this inefficiency was being filled, we came in, we kind of got into that zone just barely and started breaking down. So proof remains in the pudding and to be seen. But we've got this satisfies the criteria as far as I'm concerned. We've got the 200, the space between the 200 and the 20, the space between the 20 and price. And I'd like to see that price come back down. We've got this little inefficiency here that the market's attracted to try and fill, that coincides with the 20, coincides with this kind of general area of support in this block here. So that would be my target for this particular trade. It's probably not too late to get involved, to be honest, as that just takes out that bottom. We could give it a crack, particularly if this candle takes it out. Yep, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's one of those things that I was just going to say to you, don't do it on camera because it can be probably a bit too stressful for you to
I'll just put a light position in. Let's see how we go. So the stop here. So this is the stop's probably a bit too high for my liking with the position I've got. So I'll lower it down. We'll make it pretty lean. So I've got a hard stop in now just for the purposes. What I would do, so let's say I wanted to risk a total of 10 lots on this trade. I would start layering in now to get a little more return on my risk, basically. So I'd whack on another lot as it retraces into this zone, because suddenly my risk on my entry is less, and hoping that it's just tapping into that liquidity again and into this zone, that order block, and to come back down to kind of get more buyers, induce more buyers to take the selling pressure down. So let's see if that would have worked. I would have started layering in there, same stop for the next order, hoping to mark my profit zone at about the 50% mark, remembering the 20 is going to come to price as quickly as price goes to the 20. And let's wait and see how it does, Ash.
Excellent, mate. Thanks, mate. All right, appreciate that. I see Shukri is now in the room, so
all right.
I'll move to him, but yeah, let's pick this up again, because I do think this is really fascinating, the way that you've approached this and the different approach, and I particularly like this dollar yen. There's a DR1 which is at 109.54, which is would be an area that I think would also be quite interesting on that, and it would probably coincide nicely with that breakout point. But yeah, this is brilliant, mate. This is another arm. But yeah, any time. I mean, we can maybe do some more on Monday. But anytime you want to come on, and if you've got a trade that you want to walk people through that you're looking at, that would be maybe another way that people can learn about it. But
look, you know what, Ash? It keeps me accountable, so I'm more than happy to. It stops me mucking
cool.
around. Yeah,
all right, mate.
By all means.
All right, fantastic. All right, thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you.
So let's go to Shukri then. Shukri, I've been notified that you're in the room. How are we doing, mate?
I am. We're good. Why am I so dark? My God.
Oh, we don't know. There's been a crypto blackout, and it's taking you with it.
May the 4th. May the force be with you.
May the 4th be with us. Yeah. Well, I don't know what's going on, mate. Bitcoin is not able to pick up. I see quite a few altcoins not getting there either. And Ethereum, what is going on? That has got a rocket. That's had some fuel. It's stopped at the fuel station, and it's taken everybody's gas.
Because there's a real use case there. But more important than all this, you were not in the class last week, right? So I'm going to show you something about crypto. Okay. In crypto, it's like, it's really the saying that the market is not the same, but it surely rhymes. So I don't know which show I said it, but I know I said it in one free show that whenever Bitcoin slips below the 50, it takes an average of 12 days to go back above it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We haven't got your screen, by the way, mate.
Okay. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, let me share the screen. So it's just an example of things rhyming, and you need to know all these patterns first before you even see the charts, because that will somehow make you a genius when you see the charts.
Okay.
So see, it slipped below the 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bang. Up again. No surprises there. See? So another thing on crypto is you always have to know the narrative. Now, before I talk about Ethereum and all its use cases, again, I think there is a conspiracy here, because sometime in Christmas, before Christmas, I said that the way crypto goes, there is no way Bitcoin is not going to hit 20K before Christmas. And it did. Yeah. It's just one of those things, right? It's just one of those things. Now, the other famous narrative now that will happen, it hasn't happened today, is our famous Dogecoin hitting $1, right? But it's not $1 yet, so no panic. Okay. Now, another narrative that has been going on for quite some time is with Ethereum, actually. And I'll show you why the narrative comes first, and then it just fakes you out so you don't go in. It scares you into going in, and then bam, 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 it just happens. Look at this. Ethereum 3K was always trending for quite some time, and bang, it met 3K. Now, before it did that, look here. It shook you out here from like 2.5 to 2000. It shook you out here again, bam, and then it just went through. And that's the way crypto is. And you're going to see this again and again and again. So now Ethereum, okay, now we can talk about the fundamentals, right? Which is really too late. Basically, Ethereum is now being used by, European. The Europeans are coming out with a bond and they're issuing it on the Ethereum blockchain. It's not in Ethereum, but it's using the Ethereum blockchain. So that gives legitimacy that, for business, right? For business to use a blockchain and all this. And since this is under Christine Lagarde of all people, like, hey, has she had a change of heart? I'm not sure about the British. I'm not sure about the British, how they are, but hey, look.
I mean, do you know what, mate? They're all at it, surely. I mean, you don't get one block kind of starting to make a use case scenario for this stuff without the others going, hold on a minute. You know, they're all testing this stuff out, aren't they? I mean, we know that the digital currency is coming to the Fed, and it's coming to the Bank of England, and it's coming to the ECB. You know, they're all going to be at it, and it's interesting. You know, I don't know what that necessarily does to the coins that we currently have, but I suspect that those guys have a use for this stuff because they need to know that it's got to be ironed out. You know, they've got to make sure that they're not kind of entering into the digital space with no previously tested coins, and I guess this stuff is being testing out. But the question is, do they get to the point where they're a bit late? But I suppose the powers that be ultimately always win.
Okay. Let me tell you why Ethereum is still in its early stages. Also, it's very, very slow. Now, what happened is something related to the Brits. There's something called London. This is a hard fork of Ethereum. That means the code is going to change, and it's happening on July 14th. Now, what happens after July 14th is that the gas prices will come down.
Right.
And there's also something called, I hope YouTube doesn't shut us off. It's called a time bomb. So what is time bomb? Is a difficulty bomb. Okay, now what is a difficulty bomb? The difficulty bomb is this. And here's the good news. The difficulty bomb is this, is that by the end of the year, they're going to shut down Ethereum altogether. The old one that uses the gas fees, the miners.
Okay.
These are the miners. And this is the old way because they have all the machines and then they get rewarded in Ethereum, right? The new way is the people who buy it and stake it. And so the rewards are actually going to this guy.
Yeah.
So at the end of this year, there will be a difficulty bomb. These guys are just going to find it so hard to mine. It's all going to go here.
Okay.
So again, then people will ask, oh no, there's going to be a war. Hey, I love wars. Will Ethereum break up in two? I love it if it breaks up in two, because this will be Ethereum 1 and will be Ethereum 2, and we'll get both. So it's even better, right? But this is due for a shutdown, and it's going to start with London on July 14th. This is called EIP 1. This is called EIP 11559. Is it? Now, let me tell you why this is so logical for the for corporates, because this one, although it's happening in July 2020, this was actually planned July 2021. This was actually planned in April 2020. And in fact, they came out with the idea in 2018.
Right.
Now, for us that are in the startup world, we say that's too slow, which is fine. But who are we? We're no one. We're just people with dreams. Now, for Christine Lagarde, they're like, oh, it took you that long? It must be good.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? Because it went through so many iterations.
Yes. Yes. But so if the miners get shut out, then who creates the Ethereum?
Okay, that is where staking. This is what I'm going to talk next Wednesday, but I want to talk here first. Now, this is the issue now. Now, this is why everyone's excited. So, once upon a time, long, not so long ago, now, Ethereum, the rewards go through the miners, okay? This is Joe, the miner here. And he has all the machines and he has all the infrastructure. Soon, the rewards will go here, where you stake it. Where you put it and you stake it for about 2 years, starting last year. So last year, October, You have to stake it for 2 years. That means it only comes out in October 2022. Is it? Yeah, 2022. You put it there and then you get the rewards. This is in form of interest, of course. And this is where the rewards will come in. And I think now it's like 6% to 8% or something.
Has this started?
Yes, this has started.
Is this one of the reasons we are not seeing Ethereum sell off? Because people basically they're not going to close their positions while they're getting these rewards. And
if it's in here, they can't close it.
They can't close it. Okay, so actually you can't sell Ethereum if you're part of this thing anyway. So that's why there's a lack of supply.
Yes, there's a lack of supply.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, so 6 to 8%, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the traditional way of doing it. But being in crypto, we have another way of doing it. I wouldn't do it this way. I think this is very conservative. This is the Christine Lagarde way. We got to do it the crypto way. Now, if you go through the normal Ethereum channel, you set up a server and you have all the software. Okay, you just take it there to run something called a validator node. This is fine. You just lock it. But we don't want to do that. Okay. What we want to do is, for example, give this to someone like Binance. We can let Binance do it for us. Why do we let Binance do it for us? Will they keep part of this? Yes. You know why? Because Binance now is going to give us something here called BETH. For every 1 ETH that we stake, Binance is going to give us BETH. Here's the thing. BETH is just as good as Ethereum. It's the same. Maybe the value is a little bit lower. It doesn't matter. We can use this to trade stuff in Binance.
Right.
So while this is making interest, guess what? We can play with this and make money here also. Now, here's the trick. Now, people ask me, can we convert BETH to ETH? And then can we convert this Ethereum to cash? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But remember, at the end of 2 years, you have to show your BETH again to get that. Say this is the Ethereum you lock, right? So if you cash it now, say Ethereum now is 3K, and you cash it now at 3.6, and the next time you want to redeem this, it's 10K. You're not going to redeem it, right? You're just going to give it to Binance, and you just made 600, and that's it. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to go out of that currency. You run the risk of not getting it back.
You know, mate, this has been one of my issues with cryptos actually, and this is why I now understand. I understand it now. I understand the process, but now I get why it's so confusing for people, and now I get why so many people aren't into it.
Yes.
Why
even
do they make
even Scalper Joe will be confused, right?
I think even Jeff would be confused. But you know why it's confusing is that for some reason, and is it necessary to have so many steps to get to the what is effectively money? Is it so important? Because I go on Binance and I'm like, right, I can't just go from step A to B. I've got to go from step A to B to C to D to E to get back to B again. Yes. I mean, why do they make it like that? Is it so they can just take a little bit off every time you have to transact?
Okay, let me tell you what. Yeah. You have banks now, right? You have your Forex account. You have your stock account, right? Three separate entities, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that in Binance, your Forex account and your stock account and your crypto account and your bank is actually one?
I did know that, mate. But only on some stocks, right? We're not talking about all stocks right
only
now.
On some, but I'm sure they're tokenized a lot. But that's where we're going to. They did. Do you know that they did have GBP USD last time? And you can even stake on GBP USD. I didn't understand that. I did not understand that.
But you have to buy something to buy something, then something you can eventually trade GDP USD. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's just like so many steps just to go. All I want to do is buy pound dollar, but I can't buy pound dollar. I've got to buy Bitcoin, and then I've got to change it to BTC. Then I've got to change it. So and this is why the crypto thing is so confusing because it's so convoluted.
It is.
I'm sure it's necessary, but it is frustrating. Now, the other thing I was going to ask is Polkadot and Cardano, the Ethereum killers. With Ethereum pumping it in the way it is there or are there things going on with Ethereum that have managed to hold off those slayers for good?
Okay.
Or is it still kind of like, is there still a potential?
Technology wise, I think those are better.
Yeah.
And Cardano is better than Ethereum anytime, any day. But Ethereum has something that is very hard to dislodge, which is first mover advantage.
Yeah.
First mover means you have the liquidity.
Yes.
Okay, it means all the people are there, all the developers are there, the masses are there, the money is there. That's why we have two different approaches, which is Polkadot. Polkadot is building a bridge here. Cardano is doing a different all thing together. Cardano is saying Ethereum is crap.
Yeah.
And that is a different approach. So I will not want to take this. I would rather take this approach. And another things have built bridges to Ethereum now. I think the hottest crypto now is Matic. And that sits on top of Ethereum. Because if you sit on top of Ethereum, then you know what? You have that liquidity. You have people that are already there. You have the people that are with money there. I mean, just say, for example, London, right? You have London. Say the UK builds another capital. Like Malaysia builds another capital, but that capital is a ghost town. It's not KL, you know? People, same thing, like UK builds whatever, people will still remember London. So you still have to have a bridge to London because that's where the business is. That's where the money is.
I gotcha. Now, with Dot creating the bridge to Ethereum, does that almost give it a lifeline? It gives Ethereum a lifeline because it means that we still need Ethereum for Dot to work.
Yes, you still need Ethereum. No, because Ethereum has all the apps. So if you want to port those apps to Dot, you have to learn this new language called Rust. In Dot, it's called Rust. In Ethereum, Solidity. I mean, for us that don't do programming, you can learn Rust, but can you ask the programmers, do you think they want to learn a new language? No way. Path of least resistance.
And is that why Cardano is because they've got Haskell, right? And even though it might be more unbreakable.
This is the issue of Cardano. I agree that Cardano is much, much better. No contest, because they developed it from ground up, new technology, totally agree. But they have the mass, but they're doing something smart too. That's why they're doing they're going to Africa, right? This Ethiopia project,
which is interesting, I think. You know, so they've gone into Africa and they've recognized the fact that there are many African citizens that just don't have an identity. So they're able to give them an identity, which is fantastic. I mean, when I looked at it, I thought it's a really interesting and socially moral project.
Correct.
But does it make money? I mean, you know, because we're talking about a part of the world. Yeah, we're talking about a part of the world where it doesn't have it's not sexy, is it? And maybe
that's the problem.
Maybe that's the difference.
It may. Look, the two countries with the biggest DeFi now. See, this is different from 2017. 2017, it was about Asia.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because of the high gas fees, but it will go down. The leading country in DeFi is USA, followed by Britain. Why? Because you guys got money, man.
Yeah.
You guys got money to pay the gas. Maybe Cardano will change, but for now is this. But still, there's so many people here. I mean, now we have this issue, right, of so many things going on. And as our students, do they want to learn a new wallet for Cardano? I mean, they're going bonkers with the existing wallet on MetaMask with Ethereum. Do they want to learn the Polkadot JS?
Well, this is what I'm saying, mate. And this is what I'm saying about it, is that there are so many steps to kind of get to something that you want to be really, really simple. We want 2 clicks when we interact with things online. But and this is where the crypto market does become interesting, is that not only do you have to get to a lot of steps to do something quite simple, there are also new and exciting inventions coming out all the time. So then it blows up, you know, then you're going into another realm and another universe, you know. Do you know, I told you last week about Argo blockchain that are really interesting. Another one, have you heard of NFT investments? They are floated.
No, I haven't heard of that. Oh, what is the ticker?
I will tell you the ticker.
Okay, need to see the ticker.
But I looked at it and I just thought NFT. They're on the AQSE.
This is a stock, right? This is a stock, right?
It
should be on finance. It should be on finance.yahoo.com because everything's on finance.yahoo.com.
It's a fund. It's a fund. But I looked at it and I thought, you know what? If I can't be bothered going to research NFTs and what the thing to buy, I'll just go and buy these guys.
Buy that. Yeah. Is Damien Hirst there? Is Damien Hirst part of it?
Probably, mate. I don't know.
Probably.
Actually, I just saw Scalper saying he'll give us money and we can trade the crypto market for him. Scalper, go and buy Argo blockchain. They mine a Bitcoin. You can buy them on a Hargreaves Lansdowne account. 2 clicks and you can get the thing. And there's NFT investment right there. Just go and buy that. Go and buy those 2 things. I'm going to be late. Do you know, mate? I can't be using my brain anymore for this stuff. So I've looked at it and gone, right, I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to buy coin. I quite like the price of coin.
Yeah. Coinbase,
Looking good. I'm going to buy coin. I'm going to buy NFT investments. I'm going to buy Argo blockchain, and then I'm going to go. You know, I was going to swear there, but I'm going to get out of here.
All right. So not only that, right? You can buy like Tesla. Tesla is considered one because Elon Musk is now Doji father. So, So this is what crypto does. So that's the traditional world. But if someone were in Binance, guess what? He can buy Tesla because he loves Elon Musk. Yeah. Right. And then he can also buy Doji because it's also on Binance. And do you know that Elon also has a coin called Elon? And I don't know what the hell this is doing here. I have no idea. It suddenly changed.
Yeah.
So now people ask me, the thing is when you are in crypto, the only reason I would bring the money out is convert it to cash and take profit because now I can even do stocks within Binance. So why would I pay it out, right?
Yeah. Do you know, mate? You're absolutely right. Yeah. Binance is almost becoming a central exchange, isn't it? But hold on though, they're not allowed to do this, are they? I mean, from what I heard, they're getting a bit of heat for having these stocks on there.
They're not allowed to do this in the US.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're not allowed to give a lot of leverage in the US.
Okay.
Although we often hear of US people getting blown out because they go through VPNs. Now, here's the law in the US. Now, this is what I've heard people say. I don't know what it is in UK, that if they are caught, if I'm a US guy and I'm caught using like Binance in China or no, Binance not in China, Binance in Madagascar or somewhere Binance is, I'm innocent. It's Binance's fault for letting me in through the through the VPN.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Is that law in UK too that you're not supposed to do it, but if you go to the back door, they have to find a way to block you.
Well, absolutely, mate. No, I don't know I don't know what the deal would be in the UK, but because there's something called is it called a malice aforethought where you can't claim ignorance. In the UK, you can't claim ignorance. So if I was to accidentally on purpose push somebody off the pier in Brighton, I can't say, I didn't know they were there. You know, so you can't. You're not allowed to claim ignorance. You've kind of, things are your responsibility in the UK. So I'm not sure. I mean, there might still be a loophole. Maybe that's the next step for us to find. But So Kate Moss's NFTs she's got perfectly airbrushed armpits. Apparently, not sure why that's important, but is that something of value? Do you think?
I'm not sure of that. Yeah, we'll have to see. We're not really sure. We're not really sure. Yeah, but nice one from Scalper Joe. Yeah, it's very confusing. You know, it takes time to get into it. But here's the thing. With all these things coming in, as you know, right? The harder it is. If you get in early, you will make money. You want to go into the hard ones and you just want to put money in and you just want to stay there, because by the time Scalper Joe and Ash comes in, you know it's going to move a minimum of 10 times.
Yeah. So what are we doing right now, Shukri, with this stuff? Because I see Bitcoin relatively flat, and my personal opinion is that Bitcoin is likely to come down a little bit.
Ethereum now. Yeah, Bitcoin. I think the upside is 73. But again, see when you said Bitcoin was going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
When Bitcoin is going nowhere, guess what? People are celebrating. You know why? The alts are flying.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So everyone's celebrating now. People don't want Bitcoin to go anywhere. As long as Bitcoin goes and like this, then you see the alts like Ethereum move like this, and the smaller ones go even higher and higher and higher.
Right.
Yeah. So then the only thing that is preventing me from really, really going all in is Gordon's D-Day on 14th of May.
Right.
After that, no matter what happens to the market. So again, in yesterday's show, Gordon already said he thinks this would be a short correction, maybe until early June. I'm following that. And because in our Bitcoin seasonal things, end of May is consensus, 27th, 28th of May. And that is usually bullish for Bitcoin. So that kinds to agree. So I think by end of May, they will start going up again. By early June and July, we'll have another alts rally, which will mint the next generation of millionaires. And then we go for summer holiday in late July, August. That's
mate, it's amazing. So really, we're quite happy with the pause right now, but we are looking for a pump at some point. Thank you, buddy. All right, well let's wrap it up. Scalper Joe made money on that dollar yen trade, which is fantastic. Did you see that, Shukri? That stuff?
No, I didn't see that. I just came.
You came in at the end. Well, he gave us a trade live on the show, and that's made some money. So that's fantastic. Summer holiday in your own garden. Thanks as always, mate. Yeah. So nothing more to add. We're pretty much there with that. NFTs on hold for right now. Everything's on hold until the 14th of May. Is that what we're kind of saying?
Yeah. Everything's kind of on hold. If you want to take profit, take it, but be ready to buy the dips. The problem with taking, so I had a question. What do we do if we know it's going back up? Yes, you can either take profits, but taking profits means you have to go in and buy the dip, or just hodl it through. I don't think it's going to be a serious correction, but a correction it will be. But if you are someone like me who has gone through dips of 45% to 50% in Bitcoin in a normal bull run, 25% to me is like an ant here. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But if people have not been there, I mean, you'd be panicking at 15%. Well, you see me happily drinking whatever. I can't say it now. This is on YouTube. Okay, happily drinking whatever I want to drink. That's nothing.
So actually, what you're basically saying is this stuff's going up.
Yeah.
And it's going to go beyond this price. I'm just keeping hold of what I got.
Correct.
I'm not worried.
We're not collapsing. Worry about all this. We're not collapsing.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Thank you for that.
But again, we're not collapsing. But guys, we still have to pay our taxes. This is why I believe there is a correction. You guys saw that I have been even taking profit to pay whoever I need to pay, which is the government.
Yes. Yeah. Which is going to be the same for a lot of people, aren't they? And when they take profit, then inevitably the price comes down.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Thanks so much. We will wrap there, and we should be in tomorrow with Ainsley talking about gold and oil. Thanks so much to Scalper Joe, Shukri, and Angel, of course, for producing the show. And we'll wrap it there, and we will see you all tomorrow. As the great man